Praises to the creator. Yeah. So I just talked to Melissa about this yesterday. And I said I wasn't gonna make a video because I didn't want to argue with people. I don't want to argue people. I don't want to argue with people. I don't want to argue with people. But several months ago, I had a dream. I had a dream, and the dream, I saw. You understand and understand when we're dreaming, we're actually in the other realm, the spiritual realm. When we're dreaming, we're in the spiritual realm, and that's how Yah talks to me through that. And when I'm gonna stop calling him he, because that's what I was getting in trouble for, about teaching that the Creator Yah is a he. That's what I was getting in trouble for. That's what I was getting fussed at about. And so I was just like, well, I understand and I understand that the Creator Yah is not a he. I understand and understand. You can look at one of my videos that I posted. The guy asked me, do you think the Creator Yah is a he or a she? And I'm like, the Creator Yah is neither. The Creator Yah is everything. So the Creator Yahweh, when you do Yah's, when you translate Yah's original name down to the basis, it lets you know that Yah has a female energy and a male energy. So the Y and the W is the male. The Y and the W is the male. And the double H, that is the feminine aspect of the Creator. And I also realized that Yah, our Creator, this is why people don't want you to say Yah, because the Y is the feminine aspect, and they don't want you using that because they don't want you to realize that the Creator is both, not singular. I'm trying to explain this the best way Yah has showed me. So, but in the dream, they was fussing me. You're teaching, and you're teaching the people that Yah is a he. And the reason why I've been saying he, because I just don't feel like arguing with you all. But I know the Creator Yah isn't a he. I know this. I know this. I saw the Creator. I saw the Creator. I can't even. It's hard for me to even explain it. It's hard for me to explain it, y'all. Because I saw the nature of the Creator Yah. I saw the feminine aspect of the Creator Yah, and I saw the male aspect of the Creator Yah. The Creator Yah is both, not one. Not one. And in the book of Proverbs and the book of Sirach, they translated that he created wisdom, and it doesn't say he created wisdom. It says wisdom came forth. Wisdom came forth. That's different. I don't know how to explain this to y'all, but last night they was getting on my butt about this last night again. So in the spiritual realm last night, when the Creator shows me in school. So in the dream that I had last night, aka being in the spiritual realm, I was in college, but I was going to get, y'all know I have many degrees. So I have a business degree in restaurant management, and so I have a business degree in restaurant management. So I have it, and so in the dream, I was getting another business degree. So I was getting another business degree, and I was like, well, I don't need this. But you got to remember, I'm in a whole different type of school now. I am not in the school of culinary arts anymore. I am the school of learning. The business I need to be learning is the business of Yah. And then I remembered that. I was like, wait a minute. Because I'm not finna sit here and argue, because I am no longer in the worldly school. In this, I am in the school of the business of Yah. So I need to understand and understand. So that's when I started trying to pay attention and started to listen. And And y'all showed me the other nations. I was looking at them, and it was showing me that they are one thing. They don't have the capability as the feminine and the male duality of Yah. They don't have it. They are one thing. They're androgynous. And that's all they can be. And that's how they created their people. This is where intersex people on earth come from. You can look it up. There's such thing as intersex people. I will put links down. There are intersex people, and these people can get pregnant. And when they get pregnant, they can only have men who are androgynous, which means intersex. I mean, they have both genders. Some of them have an XXY, and some of them have a XYY. So that's why you will see them, the famous people, they will have one and have them, they'll have 4 kids, but they'll make 2 of them or 3 of them and say, you're going to be girls. You're going to dress like a girl. You're going to do like a girl. They're going to give you them, because they'll have an XXY. So they have more feminine than male, but they still have the male parts. They have both parts. Then the other side, if they have the XYY, they'll tell that one, okay, you're going to be a male. But they are all androgynous. They cannot create anything but male, because if you have a Y, I don't care what they say, if you have a Y, you are male. You are male. So they're all male. They're all male. In the other nations, they're all male, even if they're dressed like a woman, even if they're doing this, even if they got breasts, even if they're still all male. Do you understand and understand? That's all they can create. And y'all showed me this a while ago. And I know this sounds crazy, all this, but the information that y'all has been showing me, I keep telling you, I am past the stuff that y'all are learning. I am way past the stuff that y'all are learning. That's why a lot of you all think that the stuff I'm teaching is fairy tale, because you ain't got to this point yet. I'm way past this. But why am I telling you this? Because this is why they're jealous of us, and this is why they hate us. Why? Because they was made in the image in the first creation in Genesis 1, in the tum-tum. In the tum-tum. Well, we were made in the image of the Creator, Yah. That's why the Creator, Yah, says we're His children. How do I know this? If you do the Tetragrammaton, it's right here. You got the YHWH. You got the YHWH right there, right? So if you do a female's DNA, what does the woman got? The female has 2 X's. She has 2 X's. And the male has a what? A Y and an X. So guess what? The Y in the X is the male part of the Creator Yah. And then the H in the H, which is the creation, which is the most powerful part of Yah. And this is why they don't want us to know this, is the female is the most powerful one. This is why we connect to the Creator Yah stronger than anybody else. They don't want you to know that. That's what they don't want y'all to know this. And this is going to cause a lot of arguments. This is going to cause all this, because what was Eve's punishment? What was Eve's punishment? Eve's punishment was to let the man be in control. And look at our world. It's all about war. The male portion of the Creator Yah is the master of war. It's all about war, because the men have been in charge. Why? Because Eve got punished for listening to the androgynous snake. the androgynous serpent, the androgynous angel, the serpent, the seraphim. Listening to them. Eve got in trouble for that. So our punishment was to let this world suffer at the hand of war all the time, aka spiritual war. I pray that it's not going over your head. And so I didn't want to make this video because I even told Melissa yesterday I didn't want to make this video specific. I don't want to make this video because I don't want to be fighting with people. I don't want to be fighting with people. I don't want to be arguing with people. I don't want to be going back and forth with people. I'm tired of it. I am tired of watching y'all still teach about JC. You're disrespecting y'all when y'all do that. Y'all disrespecting the creator. Because you still making your platform about this dude. And you're not teaching the people who the creator y'all is. And this is why when he said, I called 1,000. I've been trying to warn y'all this, but y'all not listening. You're too busy trying to get my platform shut down and yell at me and scream at me and fight me. But y'all's trying to let you know you got to let that go. You got to move on past that. But y'all won't let it go. Why? Stiff neck, male energy. War, war, war. The female energy moves on. Let go. This is why Abraham was told to listen to Sarah. Sarah was the most powerful. If y'all need to go read the Genesis Apocrypha, what happened when why did they give everything to it had nothing to do with Abraham. It was because of Sarah. They had her for 5 years. And for 5 years, it shut down Egypt because of her. Y'all wouldn't let nobody touch her. So he made them sick for 5 years because of her. He wouldn't let nobody touch her. The only one who's ever laid their hands on her was Abraham. She was set apart. And because she was set apart in the image of the Creator, Yah, the AA, the HH or the XX, she was the prince. AKA she was the angel stock. Do you understand what I'm trying? I pray that you are praying and asking Yah about this. Because this is advanced. This is gonna be more advanced than what you realize. But I'm gonna let y'all know something. And I'm not saying this to brag. That my comprehension level has always been off the chart. So I have to learn how to tell y'all things. So because I was supposed to go to the military and I took the ASVAB. I didn't pass that test because I studied. I passed the test because of comprehension. A lot of times, in order for me to be around people, in order for me to coexist with people, I have to dumb myself down. I have to, and I'm not talking bad about y'all. I'm not saying that, but I have to dumb myself down to have just a regular conversation with people because my comprehension is different. And I don't know why the Creator made me this way. I'm not bragging. I am not trying to brag. I don't want y'all to think, oh, she thinks shit. My comprehension is better, is way up. So I can see things without even having to study the way. Because I immediately can go down the rabbit hole without somebody telling me to go down the rabbit hole. That's the best way I can say it. Most people are surface learners. They hand you a book. They say, read this book. And this is what you tell me. But that ain't what I do. I read the book and I go, well, this book says all these different things in it. Why did they come to this point in life of this portion right here? Why did they come to this portion of the book? And then I can tell you if they're lying or not. Why? Because I know how to go down the rabbit hole and see past what they gave you on the surface. You see what I'm saying? This is why he needed me to teach. This is why he needed me to teach, because he know I'm going to go past the surface. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to go past the surface. I'm going to look at everything. How did it get to this point? I'm not going to be, well, I'm not going to say go to the surface of it. This is why y'all can't get past what they gave you in the English. This is why he told me to teach from the Paleo Hebrew. You see what I'm saying? This is why he told me to teach from the Paleo Hebrew, because he know I would go down the rabbit hole with everything. Y'all, I came in second highest score in the United States in 1994 on the ASVAB. If anybody has did military, you know what the ASVAB is. Everybody wanted me. Nah, why? Why? Because of my comprehension. Because I pay attention to things. Because I look at it, I don't see surface. When I do anything, I don't see surface. I pay attention to a lot of stuff. I get a lot of stuff people are doing before they even realize, and then I say something to them about it, and then they be like, well, who told you that? How'd you know that? The people this is why I don't like being around people. Because I read their tea. Because I can see where they're going with stuff. And then I'll tell them they're wrong, and then they can't stand me for this. Because I can read their tea. And they make me psychic. No, what it is I'm reading their tea, because in order for you to get to a certain point, you already had to take several other actions. You see what I'm saying? In order for me to be around people and to be married and to be around people, I had to dumb myself down and pretend like I didn't see stuff. But I can't do it no more. That's why I don't like being around people. I had to dumb myself down and pretend like I don't see stuff in order to have a relationship with people. But y'all set me apart for a reason. And so I get it now. I didn't get it then. I get it now. So this video gonna probably piss a bunch of people out, make them angry at me, want to fight, want to do this, all this stuff. I don't feel like doing this with y'all no more, because we should be past this point. We should be past this point. We should be way past this point. You need to let go of the idol worship. Even if you're trying to tell people to go against, if you're still doing it, you're just as guilty, people. That's why I say I'm tired of watching it. That's why I don't even like watching y'all videos no more. I don't do it no more. I can't. Because he said just the mentioning of it is disrespect. We need to be teaching the people how to serve y'all and him alone. And let go of this other stuff. And so I can't stand it no more. So I don't watch y'all videos no more. I don't watch it because I see where the stuff is going. I see so much more than what y'all realize. But I try my best to fit in with the people. But you know what? I'm not doing it no more. Because for me to fit in, I have to go into stoop down to the level of worshiping y'all deities. I can't do it no more. I cannot do it no more. So I just can't. So y'all can get mad at me, call me whatever you want, all these things, whatever, think I'm better than somebody. I don't care, because I've heard it all. I've heard it all my whole life. You're a goody two shoes, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're all these different things. You don't, because I see where it's going. If I see where it's going, I stop myself. I stopped dumbing myself down. I told you, every time I got in trouble, it's because I was trying to be like the women that was around me. Because I wanted to be accepted. I don't believe in being accepted no more. I know and I understand who y'all made me to be now. And it was specific for a reason. So if I'm set apart and set alone, it's because he needed me to help y'all come up out of idolatry. So I accept this task now. And I'm happy for it now, because I don't have to feel dumbed down no more. I can have a powerful conversation with people now. Who's on my level. I can have conversations with them, because the reason why I kept saying I was going to stop teaching, because when I'm trying to talk to y'all can't hear. You're too busy worried about these deities. And you are not about the business of the one who created you, which is Yah. No, I didn't forget where I was going. Now, Yah created us in his image, just like they created each other. They created each other in their image. They are androgynous. The B'nai Elohim are androgynous. Those people are androgynous. Those are the beasts of the field that Yah keeps talking about. Those are the mankind that Yah keeps talking about. Why? Because they mix they DNA with animal, and they have the DNA of the fallen angels. So those are mankind and beasts of the field. Y'all ain't ready for the information. That's why when people watch my stuff, they go, she's teaching fairy tales. They don't understand and understand that this stuff is real. They don't understand and understand the first creation versus the second creation. They can't get past that part. That we're not all human beings made by Yah. Now, we are made in the image of the Creator Yah. DNA. DNA shows it. The women have XX. The men have XY. Just like Yah. Yah is YHWH. So YW and HH. YW is the male. The male. Well, it's, and then the Y and the W has the male aspect, and the H is the feminine aspect, but we are attached to both, right? We're attached to both. Why? Because there's an X, Y. So we're a portion of the male, and then we're double H like Yah, which is feminine. I pray that this is not going over your head. So now let's read this, and so I can get off of here because I got something to do this morning. Now, that's a deep dive into some fascinating esoteric territory. You're touching on a mix of gematria, letter, mysticism, and genetics, and comparative mythology. Here is how those connections are typically framed in those traditions. The Tetragrammaton and DNA. There is a popular esoteric theory, notable explored by authors like Greg Braden, that links the atomic mass and the chemical elements of DNA to the Hebrew letters W is this YHWH. Why I don't want to say it that way. I think we're saying this backwards. But I think we're saying this backwards, because every time I read this, I want to read HWHY and not YHWH. So that the feminine is first and the masculine is last. I think that's what we're supposed to be doing, because every time I try to read it, that's what I do. Now, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, but you also realize we read wrong. We read backwards. They got us reading backwards. So we might be reading it backwards. Instead of we may be read backwards. That's why I like the higher. That's what I like. The HAYAH. I like that because you cannot mess it up, because it's higher. That's why I like that, because you can't mess it up, and it still has the double H in it, and it has the sorry, my sinuses, because the pollen in the air, because we got too many male trees, and we're supposed to be having male and female. That's why we have sinus problems, because of that. Now, in some mystical interpretations, the numerical value of these elements are mapped to the Tetragrammaton, suggesting that the name of the Creator is literally encoded in the human genome. Yes, we are made in the Creator's image. This is why we're His children. And I gotta stop saying the His and He. We are the Creator's children. Let's go. The gender of the letters. The Kabbalah, the letters YHWH carry specific gender imageries. The Yod, the Y, the seed, which is the seed, or phallus, pure masculine creative potential. Hay, the womb or window, the feminine capacity to give form. The Wav, which is connection. The Vav is the connection which we have right now, the connector. The sun or the connector or the masculine extension. So right now we in the year of the connector. Do y'all understand and understand how powerful this year is? This is why we need to be praying right. We need to be talking right. We need to be singing right on the battlefield, because we're in wartime. Why? Because we have let the male energy take over. The male energy take over. And long as the male energy taking over of everything, we're always in war. The masculine brings in war. The feminine brings in peace. So the feminine is about to take over, back over like it was in the beginning in the garden. That's why they was in peace, because there was the feminine energy of Yah taking over. Right now, the masculine energy of Yah. When we got kicked out of the garden, our punishment was to be under the masculine energy, which is what? Always wartime. I pray that y'all getting this. I pray that y'all understand and understand what I'm saying. So right now, we're always in war. That's why I was trying to show y'all with the flag. We're always in war. And the only way Esau and the other nations can even have any power is through what? War. Everything they do is through war. The feminine energy is not war. It's peace. It's creating. It's creation of creating. They don't create. All they do is create war. They don't create peace at all whatsoever. They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to do it. That's a feminine action. And in order for us to get back to the feminine action, we got to call on the Creator Yah to bring the feminine action back. And we're in that time. We gotta ask for it. We gotta ask for it. So I pray that you're getting what Yah has showed me. I know my sister Melissa's gonna get it, and I know that my sister Terry's gonna get it, and my sister Sheila, aka Youth of Israel, they're gonna get what I'm talking about. They have that. They're on that level with me with this. That's why I like talking to them, because when we go back and forth and conversate, man, the power, whoa, the power is woo. That power is woo. So I'm so happy the Creator introduced me to them. So now let's go back. Now we need to understand and understand. Okay, let's keep going. So, hey, the second hey is the daughter, the manifestation, the final feminine grounding, and the Shekinah. This supports your idea that the name itself is a balance of male and female essences, though traditional Judaism maintains that the Creator is ultimate in soul, without limit or gender. Yah has both. So when wisdom came forth in the feminine action, wisdom came forth in the feminine essence, that was the creation of everything. But there was still Yahweh, Yahuwah. Some of you call him Yah. Oh, and Haya. There was still Haya. Haya. That was still Haya. I like the Haya better because it has, you can't say it wrong. I like that better because you can't say it wrong. So that was still Haya. There was both, the feminine and the masculine. It was both. And y'all, I seen both. Y'all don't believe, because like sis said, Terry said that the people are telling people that I'm crazy. So, but let me give you a point. You look crazy to me. I look crazy to you because I'm over here up on this level over here. But you look crazy to me. Why? Because you think that you can do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want without there being a recompense for whatever you do. And you believe, told that down, that you can do whatever you want, how you want, and you won't get no consequences for your actions. That's why they think millions of people think they're going to be saved. Why? Because you think all you have to do is believe, call it a name, and drink some blood, eat some flesh, and you're going to be fine. Or if you've gotten past that and you're over here thinking, well, all I got to do is sacrifice an animal. I ain't got to sacrifice this and I ain't got to drink the blood, but all I got to do is sacrifice an animal and I will be saved. Then some people are to the point where they believe all this stuff is a fairy tale and they can say what they want, how they want, when they want. And you can't. And they think they're going to be saved. This is why it's going to dwindle down. I keep trying to warn y'all about the dwindling. Why? Because of information. The true information. You got to seek him. Seek him. Seek. The word see is in it. In the word seek. S-E-E-C. You cannot have seek without the word see. You got to be able to see him. You got to be able to see the creator for what the creator truly is. And that's the feminine and the male aspect. And we are the children of the creator, made in the creator's image, female and male. And because we have the double H, aka the double X, we have more power. And y'all have put us to the bottom. And it says that the lowest will become the highest in the end. Right now, who is the most hated people on earth? A female so-called black woman. So who is going to have the most power? Who had the most power out of everybody? It was Sarah. It was Sarah. But y'all don't want to know that. Who had the most power? Deborah. Who has the most power? Dinah. That's why they kidnapped. If y'all understand what that was all about. And why they went after them women like that. Why Shechem went after them. Tried to own them and marry them. Why? They didn't go after the men. They went after them. They went after Sarah. They went after Rebecca. They went after Dinah. Why? Dinah was the authority. The sons was the stronghold. They were the muscle that was supposed to protect her, and they didn't do it. She was the authority. She has the most power. Do you understand by Job? When he passed his test, he was able to marry Dinah and bring in angelic children to save the line of Ishmael and the line of Esau because of Abraham asked for that. Do you understand and understand the power that she had? She was able to pull them out of the line of destruction just by him marrying her. Just by Abraham marrying Sarah. Do you understand and understand who Jacob married? I do. I bet you don't. Y'all don't do the research. And I've been telling y'all need to go find out who these 7 is. And they were the most powerful. And y'all staggered us out in between in the generations to help. As the mother. They were called the mothers. Why? Like wisdom is the mother, is our mother. The creator of the law is the mother. So y'all ain't even ready for this. Y'all ain't even ready for this, because this is why I didn't want to talk to y'all about this, because y'all gonna be fighting, y'all gonna be arguing, y'all gonna be doing all kinds of stuff. What he says is, y'all is feminine, y'all is male. In Jeremiah 2, if you go translate the word, when we did the nuptials, it was feminine and male. The word became one word. We became one again. We became one again. That's why they keep us separated. Go translate the word. Go translate the word. So, I mean, I didn't want to make this video because I just didn't feel like arguing with people. I don't feel like fighting with people. I don't, because I'm tired of this. I'm tired of all of this. I am tired of it because I've been seeing, but I'm having to hold back stuff because y'all are still stuck. Y'all still stuck in this male wartime people. The debating. That's why if y'all watching all this, y'all always debating and arguing and debating and arguing because y'all still stuck in this male. And I've moved past that, and I'm over here searching for the feminine part of the creator. I'm past that. And I was stuck on it for a few months, and then I was past it. But y'all still in it, and y'all, I've only been in this for 2 years. But some of y'all have been in it for 13, 14, 15, 16, 7. Y'all have known about this for years, and I only started finding out the truth a couple of years ago. Y'all still on sacrificing and doing this and doing that, and JC this and all this bullshit. And it took me a year, y'all, to figure out what's going on. I ain't saying that I'm better than y'all. I'm saying that y'all made me different. And everybody will tell you that I'm different. That's why they think I'm crazy. That's why they think I'm crazy. That's like she says different things. She does different things. She does things. She don't do things like we do. Why? Because I see it from a different level. I see if I do this right here on Tuesday, I see the results of me doing that is going to have what's going to happen on Wednesday. Y'all are walking in Tuesday surface level. For me, Tuesday is Friday. For me, Friday is Monday. Because I know if I make this decision over here, this is going to happen. So I don't make this decision over here, so I don't have to deal with this on Friday, and I won't have to deal with this on Monday. And then you'll be sitting there going, why am I going through this? I'm making the decisions that I make so I don't have to deal with stuff on Friday. I won't have to deal with stuff on Friday because I made the right decision on Monday. But Monday has a Monday result, and that's all you see. That's all y'all see. I can see past that, and that's why I'm like, oh, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. Because I don't want to have to deal with the consequences of Friday because I made the decision on Monday. That's not psychic. Every action has a reaction. Every action has a reaction. That's why I keep telling people don't mess with me, because I'm going to make sure that the action that you came, because I know that if you're doing something to me right now, you have already decided that you want me to have a negative reaction. And because I know that you want me to have a negative reaction, I'm going to make sure you have a negative reaction. And people don't get why I'm doing that. Because you've already made up your mind with your action to let me know if what you're doing, that you want me to have a negative reaction. I see it already. So I'm going to stop you from making me have a negative reaction. That's why he says separate from these people. Why? Because if you pay attention to what they're doing now, they're trying to make sure you have a negative reaction. This is why he told us to stay away from them. That's why the creator, y'all told us if you marry them, we're going to have a negative reaction. Down the line. You won't listen to the creator, y'all. And you're going to end up having a negative reaction. You're going to say, I didn't see this coming. Why? Because you're sitting here making decisions on Monday, not paying attention that you make a decision on Monday is going to take you to Friday. There's the problem. That's why we've been getting into trouble that we have been in. Because we're in a wartime male figure society, and we're not in a feminist society of creation. Creation has a action and reaction. If you put a seed in the dirt, out in the sun, and then let the sun hit it, you don't have a plant that day. You don't have a plant that day. When do you get a plant? Months down the road. But you had to make a decision over here to put your plant outside in the sun. You see what I'm saying? When you make the decision to do the things we've been doing, that is why we're in the situations we're in now. And I pray this is not going over your head. And we got to start making better decisions. We got to start choosing right. This is why it's going to dwindle down. And I've been trying to warn y'all about this. And you're thinking you're going to be okay. And he says you're going to be perplexed. Why? Because you cannot see the forest for the tree. You're too busy looking at the tree and it's a forest behind it. It's a forest behind it. You're making this decision. And it's going to cause you a problem down the road because you standing in front of the tree and you ain't looked around the tree and see that there's a much more bigger and more trees coming. I don't know how else to bring this to you, this information to you. But this is why they hate us. This is why these fallen deities hate. That's why they hate us. And then this Esau went to the other side. And help them. This is why they are going to be punished. That's why I made the video I made yesterday. Because y'all can't even see past that. They can't even see past. They think that they did what they did and there's no consequences for what they did. They think there's no consequences. Well, yeah, we did all this stuff. Yeah, we conquered you. Yeah, we did all this stuff. But they don't think there's consequences for their action. Every action has a reaction. That's why he tells you, you really think I'm not going to recompense you for your iniquity? This is why in Isaiah 24, there's not going to be that many people up. Because they literally think they can just do whatever they want, when they want, how they want. They can kill who they can kill. They can fight who they want to fight. They can do all these things they want to do. They can steal what they want to steal. They can go and do all these things. And there is not going to be a consequence. And they act just like those deities. You cannot. For every action, there's a reaction. Now, in Genesis 1, the male and female, he created them, often interpreted as a single androgynous being, the Adam Kadamon. Genesis 2, the side, often mistranslated as rib, is taken. And the being is split into two distinct genders. The Beni Elohim, or angels, are often viewed as sexless or androgynous because they lack the physical double nature of humans. They are pure spirit, do not have a soul. Deities and gender fluidity. In the traditions you mentioned, the concept of he, him, she, her is often a mask for a more complex reality. Hinduism, you see Ardehardavara, a composite from Shiva and Parvati. Shiva and Parvati is the same thing. Just like Lilith, it's the same thing. Okay, let's just keep reading because I want to move on from this because I got something I got to do. So Shiva and Parvati, that is a half male, half female, representing the union of opposites. Brahman itself is Nirguna without a quality of gender. And I told you in the beginning of the video, they are intersex. In Egyptian and Sumerian texts, high creator gods like Enki and Thoth are often described as having no mother or no father and containing both seeds within them. They give birth to Thoths or other gods without a partner. They don't even need to have sex with a woman or a man to have a baby. They can make their own baby with their own self. The weakness of intersex fluidity. While you suggested these forms might be less powerful, many ancient cultures viewed the androgynous state as more powerful because it represents wholeness, the one rather than the vision of two. The pronouns in mythology, he, she, the great mother, father in paganism, did this like Sibyl and Dionysus were often described as fluid pronouns, or he or had priests who transgenders to mirror the deity nature. It says they, them, and the divine. The Hebrew word Elohim is grammatically a masculine plural, yet it takes singular verbs, hinting at a plurality of one that transcends human gender. Do you understand when what they're talking about, what is being said here? I pray that you got that. So I pray that you got that. And let me show you something real quick.
Syndrome. Talk about this a ton.
Oops, sorry.
Testes help develop my female body. Let's talk about it. I have complete androgen insensitivity syndrome. Talk about this a ton. I had testes, like testicles, like typically seen in males. They were removed when I was 15, but a lot of you have asked what would have happened if we didn't remove them, or how did those testes help your body, or what did they do for you? So I wanted to break it down for everybody from birth, what the testes did. So before birth, when I was still in the womb, I had testes in my abdomen, right? In my tiny little dots inside of me. Those testes produced a hormone called AMH, which told my body not to make a uterus, essentially. Now, these testes also produced male levels of testosterone, like the amount of testosterone a typical male would receive. But my body cannot respond to any. It's like my body, the cells, can't hear the testosterone. So my body completely ignored the testosterone. Now, since I couldn't respond to the testosterone, I couldn't develop the male parts inside or outside. And instead, my body developed what they call on the default path. And the default path is female. So then, let's fast forward to puberty. I had developed like a typical girl. So by the time I was like going through puberty, middle school age, whatever, my testes in my abdomen were producing the typical level of testosterone that a male at my age would produce. Someone with XY chromosomes would produce.
Okay, there's one.
And I have XY chromosomes, but I'm capable of getting pregnant.
Did you learn that XX equals female and XY equals male? That is not always true. There are millions of intersex people, meaning that their biology, their genes, gonads, internal organs, external genitalia, and hormones do not fit a strict male-female binary. So you can have somebody who's XY chromosomes, but has a uterus, tubes, and vagina. So this was just in the news, and we have to talk about this because in Texas just proposed a bill saying that people with a Y chromosome will be classified as male in their birth certificate, which we just said is not always biologically correct, let alone all the ethics of, are you going to get genetic testing on every baby? Are you going to have the government have access to that? Who's going to pay for all of that? So it's all a little bit of political theater. It's intended to hurt transgender people, but it's basically hurting intersex people who are the ones actually caught in this crossfire. I was going to do a live on this topic with my friend Alicia Rothweigel, who's an amazing intersex advocate. Go follow her over on Instagram, XOXY Alicia. She has tons of resources to learn more, and we'll let you know when we finally do our live.
And I have XY.
So remember, I'm teaching fairy tales, right? I'm teaching fairy tales, but the truth is the truth.
POV. You just discovered you. So I was born with an extra chromosome. I went to the doctor and I was feeling tired and I was wondering like, what's going on? Why do I feel like this? Maybe you're depressed, maybe you're overworked. Of course I knew I was different, but did I know it was that? Definitely not. Hey, my name's Seamus. I'm 34 and I have 47 XXY. So 47 XXY basically means that I've got an extra chromosome and my body doesn't produce sperm and I have low testosterone. Most men with 47 XXY have all these difficulties, learning difficulties, being tired, infertile. The biggest misconception is that extra X chromosome relates to being feminine, and that's incorrect. Most people don't get diagnosed until they're in their like late 20s or early 30s when they're trying to have a kid, for example. So I knew I had physical differences when I was 23, when I, was sexually active and meeting other people, and I knew I looked different. Guys would say something, and they'd be like, oh, why is your testes smaller? Or why?
Hello. In this
health sketch, we want to talk to you about Klinefelter syndrome, a genetic condition that affects boys. It is named after Dr. Harry Klinefelter, who first described the condition in 1942. Around the world, roughly 1 in every 600 boys that are born will have Klinefelter syndrome. Why does Klinefelter syndrome occur? Unlike other genetic conditions, it is not directly inherited from parents, although older mothers or fathers may be at slightly increased risk of having an affected son. The condition happens
Here's a fascinating fact. There's a condition called androgen insensitivity syndrome, where a person's body doesn't respond to testosterone. Despite having male XY chromosomes, they develop and appear physically female. It's a rare reminder of just how complex our biology can be. Here's a fascinating fact. There's a condition called androgen.
So I'm trying to show y'all something, but y'all too busy over here. Y'all still stuck. Y'all still stuck in this deity worship and all this, and that somebody can die for your sin and all these different things. Y'all still over there. I done got way past that, and I'm over here letting you know who we are looking at and what we're looking at.
It's estimated that 1.9% of the population is intersex, so it's about as common as having red hair, believe it or not. I found out that I had no female reproductive system, and I actually had balls inside of me.
So I'm trying to show you something, but y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready for the truth. Because remember,
I've been playing this since the other day where Lisa thinks she's going to get dumber as she gets older because she has the Simpsons gene.
It can't just be a bad day. I feel like I'm getting dumber by the minute.
Her brother and her father and her uncles have it, so she must have it, right?
That's right. Then the Simpson genes kick in.
But she finds out there's a catch.
The defective Simpson gene is on the Y chromosome, so only men are affected.
And it got me thinking, what do we actually really know about the Y chromosome? And how did we get there?
What does the Y stand for?
There was a lot of fascinating TV shows about genetics in the 1950s.
We are about to unfold for you an adventure in the world of science.
Nearly every person has 23 pairs of chromosomes.
In every male human being, the 23rd pair of chromosomes is a mismatch.
One type has a long X chromosome. The other type has a short Y chromosome.
Early on, we learned that girls have 2 X chromosomes and boys have an X and a Y. And then this happened. A man with XYY was discovered. He was a normal guy living a normal life. A few years later, some researchers started drawing lines between having an extra Y chromosome and a life of violent crime.
Some studies from the 70s said that an extra Y chromosome meant a man was more aggressive.
It all started at a Scottish mental institution where 315 men were genetically tested for chromosomal abnormalities. 9 of these men were above average height, had severe mental impairments, had criminal records, and had XYY syndrome. Although these 9 men had criminal backgrounds almost identical to men without XYY, scientists concluded that their history was directly related to their genetic disorder.
So there's an extra Y chromosome. That's the criminal gene.
Then, Mary Telfer, a researcher in the U.S., began searching for the XYY chromosome in developmentally disabled boys in institutions in Pennsylvania. They were tall and had moderate acne on their face, and in her mind, these were clear signs of XYY.
Colhurst Research Center says he's an XYY man. You believe in that theory?
Around that time, a tall man in Chicago with visible acne scars on his face brutally raped and murdered 8 nurses. His name was Richard Speck. It immediately made sense to Telfer that he was XYY too. The New York Times latched onto this story and ran a series about the genetic disorder, stating that Speck's criminal disposition was directly related to the fact that he was a supermale with an extra Y chromosome. Genetic testing, however, concluded that he was XY. But the damage was done. The idea of a genetic mutant supermale quickly became a cultural phenomenon.
Well, I'd found I've got this Extra male chromosome.
Not surprisingly, there was this huge bias in research conducted on XYY men. Nearly all genetic testing of these chromosomes were
When I was 11 years old, Mum and Dad sat me down at the dinner table. It started with a discussion around how I was born without a cervix, so I couldn't have a child. They said that when I was born, the doctors discovered that I had an enlarged clitoris, I had folds that were a bit bigger, and they found that I also had unformed testes. They said that the doctors couldn't tell whether I was male or female, and that I had a surgery to make me a female.
Alright. Hey, sorry I didn't know I locked the door. I'm going to end this video here, and then I'm going to pray that you go seek for yourself and research yourself. And to give our praise and to the Creator, Yah, the Haya. All praises. Hallelujah. Woo.